Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Office 365 Productivity Tips for Users webinar. My name is Eileen Puse, Marketing Communications Manager at Brennan IT, and with me I have Guy Lyon, our Client Experience Manager. We're here today to talk you through some of the main benefits and top productivity tips of Office 365 that will make your life easier. This webinar is just one of many Office 365 productivity tutorials that we will talk you through. Just a little background on Brennan IT. We're a managed IT services provider, saving businesses both time and money by providing accountable, reliable, and cost-effective means of managing their IT environment. Ranked #1 managed services provider in Australia for 7 years, we aim to make our clients' lives easier. So again, thank you for joining, and let's get started. Now, if you have any questions throughout the session, please type them into the question box on your GoToWebinar panel as shown below. All questions will be answered after the webinar and shared via a blog post which you will receive via email. If you experience any technical difficulties during the session, please contact Tahita Mehta on 02-8235. Sorry about that. Let me just repeat that last sentence. I think it dropped out. So all questions will be answered after the webinar and shared via blog post, which you will receive via email. If you experience any technical difficulties during the session, please contact Tahita Mehta on 02-8235-9567 or email events@brennanit.com.au. Our team will be on standby to assist with any technical issues. Now, what is the power of Office 365? When we think about productivity and how to provide the best solution for businesses, there are two core principles that we and Microsoft consider. These are the same core principles that we will use to help define success as you use and adopt Office 365. Firstly, work anywhere and work easier. With Office 365, work the way that you work best, whether it be in or out of the office, using trusted business applications such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Exchange, while benefiting from a consistent experience across every device using iOS, Windows, and Android devices. Secondly, collaborate, work better together. Office 365 gives you the flexibility to easily access and edit documents in real time across devices and platforms. So you and your team are always working with one version of the truth, combined with a collaboration boost that comes from knowing you can share documents securely and hold productive meetings from multiple locations. Now over to Guy Lyon, who will take you through a live step-by-step demo and how to access some of these features. Now don't worry if you don't get to jot it all down. A recording of today's webinar will be shared with you tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Eileen, and thank you all for joining. Good morning. My name is Guy Lyon, Client Experience Manager at Brennan IT. So you should be watching my computer at this point, and I'm going to take you through some of the tips that Eileen has alluded to. And we're going to start with Outlook. I'm just going to open that up. Now, the first topic for today is we are going to look at calendars and sharing calendars. So I'm just going to pop down to the calendar here. Okay, so on the screen you can see my calendar. Now, let's say I wanted to share my calendar with one of my colleagues. Well, I can just click the button up here and click Share Calendar, and then I can choose someone within my organization with which to share it. So I'm going to share my calendar with Tahita, find here. And I've got a couple of options that I can choose when I do this. I can request to view her calendar, and I can also limit her access to my calendar. So she can have just my availability only, so she can see when I'm busy and not busy, or she can see some details, or she can see full details. And I'm actually going to select full details, and we've actually got an organization setting so that all people are sharing at all times full details of their calendar. So it's just going to confirm that I want to do that. I do. And it's just going to send her a message, and she's going to be able to easily open my calendar for viewing. Now you can see down in the bottom left here, I've got a bunch of other people's calendars that I can already see. Okay, so I'm going to go to shared calendars, and there's a bunch of individuals here. But let's say I want to look at Tahita's calendar now. Perhaps I want to schedule a meeting later today. So I'm going to add calendar, from the internal address book. Okay, add calendar to Heater. And what's going to happen now is her calendar is going to pop up side by side with mine, but it's also going to save it over here. So I don't have to add this again in future. I've just added it once, and I can always access it over there. So I can see the Heater's calendar now, and I can unclick it and re-click it. So I can open and close it anytime by closing it up there or just checking the box here. So I can see she's got quite a busy day ahead as well. What I can do, as I said, is I can see the details of all the meeting invites that's going on today. But let's say I wanted to add my own appointment for later on that I didn't want other people to see, so even though I've shared my calendar. So I can just add an appointment later, but let's keep it to myself. So I'm just going to mark the private button up at the top here. Save and close. Okay, and then you can easily see that's got a little padlock beside it, which means that other people can just see that as busy time. They cannot see the details of that appointment. Now this is really useful when scheduling meetings. So I'm just going to do a new meeting here, and I'm going to invite Eileen and Ahita to the meeting. Then I'm going to click the scheduling assistant at the top here. Now this is a great way to just match up everybody's calendars to see when I can find a free space. So it looks like we're all pretty busy today. The only available spaces for a meeting may be 12:30 or 3:30 there when we're all clear. Okay. Depending on your organization settings, you can also add meeting rooms, video conference bridges, and other resources to the shared calendar so that you never have a conflict with a room or a resource that needs to be shared between the team. This is how we have it set up here at Brennan IT. Okay. Just going to go back to my email inbox. Just a quick tip here. I'm quite a organized person when it comes to Outlook, and I have hundreds of folders going on, many with subfolders. But at any one time, I'm going to be working on specific projects, and I can keep those folders as favorites up in here. This is one thing that Office 365 does very well. You can mark favorites for everything, whether it's documents or file folders or email folders. And I can just right-click on a folder down here, and I can say show in favorites, and it'll appear up there until I choose to remove it. Favorites. Okay, so this gets you quick access at all times to what you're working on. All right, we're going to go and have a look at OneDrive now. So I'm just going to close my Outlook down, and we're going to go to the Office 365 portal. And this is where people maybe have a bit of a misconception about how Office 365 works, different from just using your regular PC day to day. You still can and will use all your apps as if you were just working on it locally. But I am going to log into it online, and it's just going to redirect me to our organization sign-in page because we have a org account. Okay, so here's the main Office portal, and I can access all of my apps from here. And the one I'm going to look at now is OneDrive. Okay, so here I am in a document folder within OneDrive. And I'm sure you'd all agree, if I had to do this every time I wanted to get to a file, it would be a little bit painful. All right, so the first thing that I like to do is sync this folder. So I'm going to click the synchronize copy up here. And what that's going to do is just give me a little prompt. And it's actually going to open it within my Explorer. Okay, so this is really key. I would recommend, this would be one tip that I would say definitely take away, because now getting to my OneDrive documents is as easy as getting to any other document on my PC. All right, I'm just going to pop back to the main documents folder here, and I'm going to show you how we can share documents, and I'm going to share one with Eileen. Okay, so I've got a blank document here. I am going to click share, and I'm going to enter Eileen's name, and it should pick her up if she's in the organization. I can set the permissions that I want her to have on this document. So do I want her to edit it and join me in this, or do I want her just to have a read on it? But I'd like her to edit. Just going to put a little comment. And the show options here, I can either choose whether she gets an email or not. So I'm going to keep that so she gets an email invitation. I'm just going to share that document with her. Okay, so now we have a single Word document in the cloud that we both have immediate access to and can dynamically update together. And this is the best part. So I'm just going to, when that email comes back, I'm going to show you what that looks like. And also going to show you how the document looks when we edit it together. So if I'm in here and I click this webinar Word, I can open it within Word itself, or I can do a preview within the browser, but I want to edit it, so I'm going to do a full open in Word. Test editing documents. Okay. And we can also see up here in the top right, so this is something that you won't see if you're just using a normal copy of Word. This is because I'm using the online version. I can do sharing from here as well. So I've already invited her via the OneDrive app, but I can also invite her from within the document. And that's something that you really find with this productivity toolset, is that you can see how to do everything from everywhere. So if I'd forgotten, for example, how to share it from OneDrive because I wasn't a regular user, well, it's just as easy to share it from inside the document. So I'm going to add someone else so that we can see them being involved as well. But Tahita, I only want her to view it. Okay, please view. So I'll just do another share from within the document. And again, at any time, I can see who has access and what level of access is there. Okay, so Eileen has got the invite, and it looks like this. Another interesting thing is this doesn't come from a system. This comes from myself, right? It's coming from my email address. So if she has any, or if she has any questions, she can just respond, and it's going to come straight back to me. It's not being lost as a kind of automated system-generated email. So this is the note that she got, and this is the link that she got to follow. Okay, very simple. Now, if I go back to the document, I should be able to share it, save it, and see updates that she's made. You can see that another common theme in Office 365 is this little green synchronization button over save and over document labels. And this means that it is an online document, and as you can see, it says it's going to refresh it with updates made by other authors. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Also in the bottom corner there, it was very quick because it was such a small document. It said uploading to SharePoint in the bottom corner. So you know that not only is it saving a version that you can recover, but it's loaded upline as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go back whilst Eileen is editing the document and adding some comments. I'm just going to go back to my documents folder here. So here's where I showed you to synchronize with Explorer. Okay, so I have this every time I open my PC. And again, the little green ticks means that it's being synchronized. Okay, so I know that all these documents are currently saving to the cloud. Now, if I disconnect my PC, I would see, I'm not going to do it for purposes of the webinar, I would see that these documents would have little red crosses. And I can still open them and access them and edit them, but I just wouldn't be uploading them at the same time. Okay, I can very easily add a new document here. So I'm just going to say, let's do a new Excel. I'll just call it test Excel. And just watch the diagram here. You'll see that it has a little sync button. It's trying to sync. And then it's got the green tick. And that means it's now uploaded. So when I go back to my OneDrive online, I should see that document there. There you go. Test Excel. The green star means that it's a new document. And you can see it was modified a few seconds ago. Basically, the learning here is that you don't really have to come back to this online screen. You can just do everything in the same place that you were doing things before, okay, which is your File Explorer system. In many cases, we find organizations, the worst case scenario is people are saving things to their local drive and nowhere else. Okay, lose your laptop, lose all your documents. That's terrible. Second best case is people are saving to a online server that their company has provided, which is better because that can be backed up and is centrally located. But of course, you can't really access that if you don't have an online connection. So if you're on the train and your connection cuts out, then you lose access to those online server documents. The purpose of having the shared document on OneDrive is that you have that local copy that also backs up. Okay. Now we can see Eileen has added some comments here, which I have refreshed just by clicking save, and we can see, hi Guy, thank you for sharing this document. It's pretty clear what's happened, and of course the usual review and markup and track changes, just as in normal Word, always works. So one more key feature for OneDrive is another great thing that you can see version history. Okay, so I'm just going to open this here. I can see the version history of this document. So something that people like to do is they like to save, V1, and I'll just save that on my local side, and then I'll email it to someone else, and they'll update it as V2, and then you've got multiple copies floating around of the same document. Right? That's really not the best way. So I can see that this earlier version from today, if I want to, I can have a look at it, I can restore it, or I can delete it because we know we don't need it. All right? You can have major and minor versions of documents, so it makes it very easy to track changes over time. And you can also see who made those changes. So you really don't have to keep that front page update of, what version or what date did we do, and who made the changes and what did they put in. As you can see, we've also got comments here as well. So the system does this all for you. So you really can have a single document to work on that you just need to maintain things. Okay. I'm going to show you another cool thing with going back to Outlook very quickly. Let's say I want to email Eileen that document that we've been working on. Okay. Well, the great thing is here, you can see attached file is showing all the recent files that I've been working with. All right. Now the little cloud icon shows the files that are available on OneDrive. So instead of attaching a file, this is really good when you've got large files to share with people and emailing documents back and forth. You just make sure if you're working on the OneDrive version of a file, then you just attach that. And what that does is instead of putting it in the attachments, it'll just attach it to the link. But it looks much like an attachment anyway. So this is a great way to not clog up people's inboxes with massive megabyte emails that they're going to have trouble downloading while they're on the move and things like that. You're just sending links to documents that they, of course, might already have synced to their own local OneDrive, and they can just open it this way. So this is a really neat feature, new in Outlook, most recent release, just that attached file. Even if it is a local picture or something you want to send, just looking at it through this just shows all the recent stuff that you've been working on, and you can just grab it and attach it to the email. Okay, we're going to go have a look at Skype for Business now. I'm just going to close that down. So I've got that open here. I'm just going to sign in. I have this set up every day. I reckon this is one of the most important tools we use on a daily basis. So I'm now logged in, and you can see my status says I'm in a meeting, and that is because it's automatically synchronizing with my Outlook calendar. So if I look up someone else, I can see that they're also in meetings. Now I've logged in, I can see presence of other people on the system, no matter where I'm looking at them from. So I can see Eileen, she's in a meeting. It says here, she's free, next free at 12 o'clock. So again, I don't even have to check calendars in some ways because I can see this information here. Now, let's say I wanted to give her a quick chat about this, where I can save an email back and forth, and I can just jump straight into IM. So as easy as that. Whenever I see someone, I can communicate with them. And of course, I've got multiple options to communicate with them with. I could do a video call, I could do a Skype for Business call, or I can do present. We'll come back to that in a second. One of the other neat things from the console is that I can add people, not in my organization. So I can even add our clients or add our vendors, other users of Skype for Business. And this is really useful, right? If you can talk to your clients and just IM them as easily as you can speak to your colleagues, this is fantastic. You can see I'm in a meeting, but I can set it however I choose. It will just automatically set it depending on what's happening in Outlook. I'm going to leave that as in a meeting. You can also set your location. So for mobility, we have multiple offices in Australia. Many of our people are on the road with clients. We want to be able to set that. So I'm currently on the Sydney office Wi-Fi. All right. So if someone looks me up, they want to know where I am. It'll remember this as well in future. I'm roaming around the Sydney office on Wi-Fi because I'm in a meeting. Okay. So we found Eileen from an email. We can also find her from within OneDrive too. And you can see my status is here as well. And I can see that I shared with Eileen and Dahita, and they pop up again and again. So if I see a person, I can connect to them using Skype for business. All right. So one of the most useful things, we probably use this about twice a day, is screen sharing. So I just need to show Eileen and Dahita something. So first I'm going to add Dahita to the conversation. All right, so now we can all talk to each other in the same conversation. And I can choose to present in a few different ways. So I click the present button. I can present my desktop. I can just choose to present specific programs, or I can even just do it. It has obviously most people like to present PowerPoint files. So I'm going to just use present desktop. It's going to change the window slightly. Okay, so I can always see at the top there's a little yellow bar around the whole screen. Makes it pretty clear that I'm presenting to them so that I don't forget. Okay, I can also assign control to other users, so you can take control of someone else's screen, and very easy to stop presenting here as well. So this is a really useful feature. This can be used in a couple of ways. Even if you're in the same office as someone else, you might not want to leave your desk because you're in the middle of something, but you need someone to see what you're seeing on your screen. You can just do a quick screen share. We often use it in meetings, whether you're either trying to broadcast to other offices that maybe can't see the presentation that's up on the board, or maybe you're using the television to do a video conference. You don't have a screen available for presenting on. So this is a really great way, because most people are bringing their laptops to meetings now, to just share and make sure that everyone's watching what you're doing, whether that be a presentation or a live demo or whatever you like. Works really well for troubleshooting and assisting your colleagues. Okay. So a couple more Skype for Business features. You can see I've got contact groups here. I haven't got any clients added as yet. I've now switched to presenting. So the system knows that I am showing something, so I should not be interrupted. So if Eileen or Dahita chooses to Skype me back, it won't pop up because the system knows that I'm presenting. So it's very clever. It knows that you're likely going to be doing something where you don't need to see interruptions on your screen, and you can have that just locked down so that people can't interrupt your conversation. Okay. You can also send files to other people as well. So I'm just going to go back into my conversation, which is here. All right. So I'm going to attach files. So for whatever reason, if you needed to send one of these, you see it's automatically opened up to my OneDrive. I'm just going to send this test document down. And I can choose how I want to have this. Can everyone download it? Can people just view it? And what other options are there available? So you can have very precise sharing and permissions viewing on document sharing. That's another great reason to use OneDrive, because of course if you attach a document to an email and send it to the wrong person inadvertently, they're going to have the link, they're going to have that document to look at. If you're sending someone a OneDrive link to a document and they don't have permissions to see it because you haven't shared it with them, well, it doesn't matter that they've got the link, they still won't have the permission. So we find this a great way to collaborate within teams, but not inter-team necessarily with documents with other users.
Great. So I actually just have one last tip that I find extremely useful, especially in the day and age today where we are bombarded with a number of different emails. The last thing you want to do is receive another email. So if you receive an email and you just want to have a quick discussion with that person straight away, what you can do is when you open up the email is you can essentially, so give me a second, I can just reply with an instant message, just go, hi, Guy. Oh, hi, Eileen, because I'm using Guy's laptop. Just about this email. Yeah. So that way, you're actually, it's just a short question. You can just straight away ask your colleague as opposed to sending another email to them and they might not get back to it. that was just a quick tip that I find extremely useful every day, and also gets you on top of sort of your email management and keeps sort of the volume of your emails down. So again, thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. Don't worry if you didn't get to jot it all down. A recording will be made available to you tomorrow, as well as a blog that goes through some of the details in terms of some of the additional benefits of Office 365 with step-by-step instructions on how to sort of navigate through the new tools. So if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to enter them into the panel or fill them into the post-event feedback survey, which we will send tomorrow morning. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.